Just got a new toe in. Quite a few parts replaced. Customer is supposed to buy this truck, and the interest turned into me receiving this truck. So I was obviously what's going to happen. I'm going to look over it and see if it is what it needs from what the seller is stating. He said that the fuel pump is defective, so we'll see what happens if it's legitimately the fuel pump or not. There's a lot of stuff on here, though. I'm going to say no, because I don't believe anybody that's selling a truck, car, or anything saying, "Oh, it's just this," and then you just get that thing replaced, and then the problem's resolved. People just don't sell cars like that. You know, why not just fix it and sell it for more money? Doesn't make any sense. So the this is cam synchronizer. That's new. Coil pack's new. Radiator's new. I question a lot of things just from seeing those few things that are replaced. I mean, hell, this PCV looks new, which is great. I mean, so that's an indication that something small like that getting replaced, that shows that there is a possibility that they're probably accurate. You know, they kept the maintenance up on a regular, and it is something that went wrong, and they probably got tired of dumping money in it. Who knows? But I just say, it doesn't make sense to me. So, want to go through a quick diagnosis with this. Got my jump box on charge. The car doesn't run, but I'm going to pull this air box off to get access to the intake so I can administer some fuel. Oh gosh, the truck has been sitting for a little while. So another connector in the back. Got a new air filter. I don't know, maybe they were just, they kind of went along with what was requested to get replaced. It's a 2001 Jeep. Alright, we're just gonna take the lower out. I sprayed fluid in there. Let me charge the battery up. Got a little more juice now. So jump box and the battery. Let's try this again. Yep. Nothing. So like I said, I never believe them people when they say, "Oh yeah, it just need blah blah blah" when you buy it offline or buy it from someone that you know. Again, why don't they just fix it? I suspected the car was. I gave the car benefit of the doubt, but my high suspicion superseded the fact that this car needs a lot more than what was told. Doesn't need a fuel pump. So now we're going to get in depth with diagnosing this car, which should be very interesting. Because again, they tried to fix it, obviously with all the new stuff on there, and it didn't work. So I'm gonna track my steps, make sure this fuel system is good. So I'm going to take the intake, what do you call it, the bonnet or whatever, I think that's what it's called, or I think that's for carbureted cars. I'm gonna hit the rest of the intake off, the air filter portion, so I can directly spray into the intake and see if it'll take the fuel then. It's got fuel pressure. Let's put a fuel gauge. Let's check the fuel pressure. Take the valve core out. Put this doohickey thingamabob to it. Just gonna snag it. Alright, I think that's. Whoa! Look at that. I think we should put a fuel pump in it, just because it needs a fuel pump, right? Let me call and price a fuel pump. I don't know what I got, but I'm at the crank sensor now. I checked the voltage, so we got a 5-volt here, nothing in the middle. Then there's one on the outside also. I think that signal, I'm gonna make sure this is the right wiring here, but I just want to make sure I got voltage just to look at something real quick. So I'd assume I got a 5-volt reference. The signal is gonna be a 5-volt, and the middle is gonna be a ground. And how I know it's gonna be a 5-volt? The light should come on for the 5-volt reference and not for the 5-volt signal right there. See that? It didn't come on, so that was the bias voltage. So this is gonna be the signal side here. What I could do, I ain't got nobody here to help me, so I could generate a signal while starting it up with my test light here, but nobody's here to help me. It's a problem with working by yourself. So I have to go to my oscilloscope and see if it generates a signal, and the signal wire is gonna be that wire that's touched there on the far right, looking up at it. So I'm gonna put a pin on it and get my oscilloscope hooked up really quick. Mind you, there's no check engine lights on here. No check engine light, no codes. So I'm gonna hook this up really quick. I mean, it was good. I heard some noise. I don't know what that means, but you know, I heard some noise. Let me get hooked up. Let me get the coil hooked back up, and let's see if we can get this damn thing to hit. All right, so I'm getting loaded up now on the maxi scope. I just said, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna scope it. All right, I'm gonna change this channel A to a 5-volt scale really quick. We're not on 5 volts. What's going on here? It's probably just, oh shucks. I got a charger on it too. Let me pull the connector off and see if it jumps up to 5 volts, because I got it plugged in and it might be hitting a point to where it drops off. So let me do something. Yeah, I'm smart and dumb simultaneously, I guess. I didn't even have the key on. There we go. So we got a 5-volt here. Let me get the camera moved over. So there's our 5-volt, and I want to change my time base to 20, stop, and I'm going to start it up. All right, let me run in there. All right, let's see. So there's a wave there. Can I zoom out? Oh shit, if I would have changed my time base. should have made it finer and zoomed in, duh. Let's do it again. I'm gonna change my scale. Let's go to 100. Oh shit, what did I press? So that's what we got. There's movement as far as what's right. So, okay, there you go. We have two thin ones, two large ones, a gap, too thin, too large. So we have a signal, but why isn't it firing though? So the only thing we can do, I'm going to go to the ignition coil again and see if it's getting a signal to fire. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure this cam synchronizer is working properly. So same thing, check for voltage, bias voltage. I'm pretty sure it operates the same. I knowingly know. I should be looking at a wiring diagram. I don't know what I recorded, but right now what I'm checking is the cam synchronizer. Same thing, it's a 5-volt reference. So it's gonna pull a drop signal. Same scale. All right, here we go. What the hell? What the hell just happened? No. Shit. Oh, I turned the computer off. Oh shit, I'm changing my scale. Damn it. I had a bad scale. I'm just gonna edit that out. There's no drop off or anything. It's just noise. Let me pull this cam synchronizer off. See what it looks like inside of there. See what's up with that. Since it didn't display a pattern. Oh shit! Fucking myself. Strange, I didn't get no pattern or anything. I'm gonna turn it over when I take it off if it doesn't have any obvious issues. And let it. Oh, look at that! Found our problem. Voila! It didn't generate a signal, and this is why. Cool. Hey, we used the scope, everyone, and it worked. All right. Well, this is what happens when people throw parts at it. This is what happened when people. I mean, suppose I would have actually just threw a fuel pump in there. Excuse me. Per request of, not the request, but from the customer's alleged seller's diagnosis. You know, it's the problem when people buy cars offline or from a person. Again, they don't know. And let me think of this. If they knew what was wrong with the car, why not sell the car for more money? Why not fix it and get what you want for it? Because they don't know. Oh yeah. Anyway, we see that the cam synchronizer is bad. Look at it. This is the remnants of that, and we didn't even throw $1 at this car. Man, that is like ill. Oh shit. I'm not self-grandizing, but I'm just excited that, you know, I diagnosed this car literally within 8 hours. All right, cool. This is great. Now when I install this with the new one, I'm going to assume this worked. Being that there's no other issues, I'm going to mark the orientation of it and install it back in its original position to the best of my ability. So, all right, let's go get a part because I know they want this fixed. All right, today's all right. Luckily, my part came in today, so I got a dormant part. Here's the part number. We're gonna see if my diagnosis was accurate. Get this vehicle running. So I'm just gonna inspect it right quick and see if there's anything special. Seems like everything should just fall right on into place. I'm gonna take the cap off of this one, and I'm going to clean off the area down the old one. So I'm gonna try to mark the orientation, make sure everything line up. Might even try to get like a measurement or something, make sure I'm precise. So I'm gonna clean everything, get white out, just mark the areas, and hopefully I can pull it out and pop one right back in there. Be good to go. Let me get it cleaned up real quick. So looking down, it's about as close as it's gonna get. We'll do the body too. All right, it look like a 13. All right, here goes nothing. There we go. Yeah, I believe you can't make too many marks, so make sure it goes right back in close as possible. I'd rather have too many. But then again, too many can put you in the wrong spot too, right? I don't think I should. All right, let's pull this out. It's gonna twist. Luckily, that pump gear goes in the same spot, so hopefully I can only get it 180 degrees off from what it looks like. All right, let's do this. That way. All right. Let's put this back in there. I know it really ain't gonna help, but I mean the main thing was to get it close as possible. All right. I should have lined it. Well, I could have put a mark up there, but it's about right there. All right, let's see what happens. I'm gonna leave it a little loose just in case. I'm just gonna snug it down. Main thing I want to see if the damn thing will hit. All right, let's plug it in. Battery's charging. Should have a good charge on. Let's see what happens. All right, let's get in here. See what happens. Oh, key. All right, let's see what happens. Oh no. Maybe it's not in position. Strangest thing. Let me do a little more investigating. No, I've got a bad one before. Threw me off. Threw me for a loop. Let me see if I can adjust it. So yeah, this might be a thing right here. Might want to hook the coil up. Gosh, boy, my mind was about to be messed up. All right. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh shit, it's running. It's running like crap right now, probably because all that brake cleaner was in there. It's running. burn that brake cleaner off. Cool. All right. A couple minutes later, still running. I did notice one thing when I initially started diagnosing the car. The vacuum line down here is not hooked up. I don't know where to go. That's how I got it. So I'm just curious to see if I gotta scan the car anyway. I'm gonna see if it has any impact on the fuel trims. Doesn't seem like it. It might have had a block off going to it. I want to let the battery charge up for a few minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook the scan tool up. All right, this car got 279,000 on it. Golly. I mean, the more I look around in this car here, man, the more I see of just random parts, as if somebody tried to fix the issue without, properly diagnosing it. So there's no fault codes. Let's look at the overall. Other than that, this car's fixed. What we did, we went through some preliminary checks as far as the fuel and fire. We had fuel, checked the fuel pressure. We had about 40-50 psi, which was normal. I, for some strange reason, just went ahead and checked the ASD relay, the injector. I wasn't getting fire or 12 volts on the 12 volt feed on the injectors. And I looked for a signal also. But little did I know, the ASD relay has to detect running conditions before it, or starting conditions before it starts sending power. And it will send power initially and then cut back off the power source going to the injector. So I didn't know that on this vehicle. I don't work on Jeeps like that. It was the same for the 12 volt source for the what was it? It was no, that was it. That was it. It was just that for the not ignition, but for the fuel injectors that require 12 volts. We tested the cam synchro, but before that we tested the crank sensor. We checked for 5 volt reference, 5 volt bias voltage, which was a signal wire, and the ground. Everything was working, so we scoped it. We had a wave. I'm not gonna say it was the normal wave, but we had a wave. Brake jobs here. We checked the cam synchro, had necessary components, 5 volt reference, 5 volt bias voltage for the signal, and ground. And we scoped that, didn't have a signal. Then took the cover off for the cam synchro, and we found our issue. Replaced it, and we got a running vehicle. Peace and air, grease.